গান জুড়েছেন গ্রীষ্মকালে ভীষ্মলোচন শর্মা, আওয়াজখানা দিচ্ছে হানা দিল্লি থেকে বর্মা। Hi friends, this is me Payal Dutta. Welcome to my channel. If you are new to my channel, ding dong, please don't forget to subscribe. So today I will help you with the line by line explanation of the poem The Power of Music by Sukumar Ray. Now before we begin the poem, you must know that this poem was originally written in Bengali in a collection called Abul Tabul, and it was titled as Ganer Guto. These poems were later translated into English by Professor Shukanto Choudhury and published in a collection called The Weird and the Absurd. So now let us read the poem. When summer comes, that is in the months of summer, we hear the hums. Hums means the murmur. We hear the murmur of Bhishmalochan Sharma. Here I want you to notice the phrase, here's the hums. This is an example of an alliteration. Now what is an alliteration? An alliteration is a figure of speech where two words lie side by side and they begin with the same letter. So ears and hums, they both begin with the letter H. So that is why this is an example of an alliteration. Now this poem, it is ripe with alliterations. So in the opening sentence, we readers, we are introduced to the central character of the poem. That is Bhishmalochan Sharma, who sings throughout the summer season. You catch his strain. Catch means you can hear his strains. Strains refer to his music. It refers to his song, his melody. And where can you hear his song? On hill and plain, that is from the hillocks and the flatlands, from Delhi down to Burma. So his song covers a huge distance from landlocked Delhi in the north to the country near the bay, Burma. His song can be heard. This proves how loudly he sang. This is an example of a hyperbole. Hyperbole is a literary device to over-exaggerate things. So here the poet, he is over-exaggerating the loudness of Bhishmalochan Sharma's singing. He sings as though he stalked his life. Stalked means gambled. So the way Bhishmalochan Sharma sings, it seems like he gambled his life and now he must win. So he sings as though he's hell-bent. Hell-bent means he's determined, he's resolute. He sings as if he is obsessed about singing. He is dead set to sing at all costs. He is resolute, he is determined. No one can change his mind. The people dazed. So when people heard his song, they were dazed. They were shocked. They were stunned. So they retire amazed, they leave surprised, they leave stunned. So they retire amazed, although they know it's well meant. So the people, they are aware that the song was well meant. Well meant means it meant no harm. It was sung for the purpose of pleasure. It was sung for the purpose of entertainment. But the people are upset by the singing, and so they retire in confusion. As they depart, they are trampled, they are stamped, they are crushed in the panic rout. Panic rout means the chaotic chase, the confused rush, or languish pale and sickly. So as the people are withdrawing, they are languish, they are weak, they are suffering, pale and sickly, as if they are lifeless and ill. To prevent this injury, what are they doing? The people, they are requesting and plead. Plead means to beg. So the people, they are begging Bhishmalochan Sharma, my friend, we are near our end. That is, we are close to our death because of your song. So stop your singing quickly. Immediately stop your song and save our lives. Then the poet goes on to say the impact of the song on other animals and nature. He says, the bullock carts, that is the carriages that are pulled by oxen, are overturned. They are placed upside down. And horses line in the roadside. The horses, they are standing in the corners of the road. But Bhishmalochan, unconcerned, he remains unmoved, unaffected by all this. And without showing any sign of worry, he goes booming out. He continues with his loud song, his deep singing, with his broadside. That is, his verbal attack, his annoying sound. The wretched brutes, the unhappy, violent people, they resent, they dislike. What do they dislike? The blare, the harsh, loud song. The hour they hear it sounded, the moment they hear the singing. And how do the people react to show their frustration? They win, they complain and stare. They gaze with foot in air. Foot in air here means that the people, they are revolting against the song. Their feet is in the air. They are revolting. They are opposing. Or wonder quiet confounded. Confounded means confused. So the people, they are confused. They are in wonder. They are puzzled. They are amazed. The fishes dived below the lake. They singed, they drowned themselves in the water. In frantic search, in a panic-stricken search. Search for what? Search for silence. So to avoid the loud noise, the fishes looked for silence underwater. Note here the phrase search for silence is also an alliteration. The very trees collapse, they fall down and shake, they move due to the vibrations of the song. You hear the crash. We people, we can hear the sound of the falling trees. A mile hence. So from a long distance, the falling of trees can be heard. And in the sky, the feathered fly. Feathered fly is an alliteration. It refers to the birds. So the birds flying in the sky, they turn turtle. They turn upside down while they are winging, while they are flying. So here again you see Turn turtle is an example of an alliteration. There is a complete topsy-turvydom in nature. The birds are overturned, and as they fly in the sky, they are in their turned position. The people are so upset, they constantly request Bhishmalochan Sharma to stop his singing. Again we cry, they shout again. We are going to die, oh won't you stop your singing? But merciless Bhishmalochan Sharma pays no attention to their shouting. But Bhishma soared beyond our reach. He soared, he raised his voice beyond the reach of the people's sound. The shout of the people was unheard due to his harsh song. However, we plead and grumble. But even then, the people, they continued to beg and grumble. Grumble means to complain. The Welkin weeks. So this too is an alliteration. Welkin is the sky. So even the sky, it weeps, it cries, it rains. This is also an example of a personification. What is a personification? A personification is a figure of speech where you attribute human-like qualities to non-living things. So here you see the sky, it is weeping. So that is why this is an example of a personification. And why does the sky weep? To hear his screech, because Bhishmalochan Sharma, he sings in a screeching voice, in a harsh voice, in an unpleasant voice. And mighty mansions tumble. The huge monuments, they tumble, they fall down, they collapse. So here again, mighty mansions is an example of an alliteration. But after all this confusion, the people are finally relieved. But now there comes a billy goat. A billy goat is a male goat. So that male goat comes to rescue the people. A most sagacious fellow. Sagacious means intelligent, wise. And so what does this wise goat do? He downs his horns, he lowers his horns and charges straight and attacks straight without any warning. He makes a direct attack on Bhishmalochan Sharma. With bellow answering bellow. Bellow means a loud roar caused due to anger. So the billy goat charged Bhishmalochan Sharma with a loud sound to answer, to give a perfect reply to his song, his harsh song. The sound of the goat was a response to his harsh song. After the attack, the strains of song, the melody of the song are tossed and whirled. The song is thrown and whirled. Whirled here means that the song is rotated. It is played along by blast of brutal violence. So the blast, the shriek, the noise of Bhishmalochan Sharma caused by the brutal violence. The brutal violence means the cruel violence. The merciless attack of the billy goat resulted in the tossing of the song. The phrase by blast of brutal is again an alliteration. After being attacked by the billy goat, Bhishmalochan Sharma surrendered. He gave up his singing. And Bhishmalochan grants the world. He agreed to give the world the golden gift, the precious gift, the costly gift of silence, of peace, of tranquility. So mark here, golden gift is also an alliteration. So far in the poem, we saw that Bhishmalochan Sharma was an unmelodious singer who sang in a harsh voice, and the people were annoyed by his singing. But Bhishmalochan, he remained unaffected. He was not bothered. And finally, a billy goat came and attacked Bhishmalochan Sharma, who ultimately gave up his singing. So this is the surface meaning of the poem. Now this poem is an allegory. What is an allegory? An allegory is a poem that has layers of meaning, which is usually political. This poem is a satire, a parody, a ridicule to expose the state of the Indians under the administration of the British Raj in the 20th century. So to understand this better, let us reread the poem. Bhishmalochan Sharma is a metaphor to represent the merciless British Raj. So, when summer comes, we hear the hums Bhishmalochan Sharma. So we here refers to the Indians, the colonized ones. In summer, we Indians, we hear the hums, we hear the orders, the commands of the British people. You catch his strain on the hill and plain. So, one can hear the British commanding on the hilly grounds and the plains, from Delhi down to Burma. So the British, they had colonized a huge territory in India. Their rulership stretched from Delhi to Burma, that is modern days Myanmar. He sings as though he stalked his life. He sings as though he is hell-bent. So the British, they commanded the Indians as if they were determined to showcase their power. They stalked their life. What happens when you gamble? You loot, you plunder. You plunder who? Your opponent. That is exactly what the Britishers did to us. They were obsessed to loot the Indians. The people dazed retire amazed. The Indians, they were shocked and wanted to quit serving the Britishers, although they knew it's well meant. So you had some Indians who believed that whatever the British were doing, it was meant for the general welfare of India. There were some who accepted the slavery, who were fine with the domination. But then, ultimately, they too revolted when they could not bear with the domination anymore. They are trampled in the panic rout or languish pale and sickly. So the Indians, as they protest against the Britishers, they are stampeded. They look lifeless, they look ill. They beg the Britishers, my friend, we are near our end. That is, we cannot bear the domination anymore, the suppression anymore. So stop your singing, stop your orders, stop your commands, quickly, instantly, immediately. Now, as we know, when the Britishers came, bullock carts were replaced by horse carriages. So the bullock carts, they are overturned, and we see horses that are lining in the roadside. So the mode of transportation that has completely changed in India. But Bhishma Lochan unconcerned. The British Raj, they remained unmoved by the Indians, the requests of the Indians, and they goes booming out their broadside. They continue with their orders, they continue with their dictatorship. The wretched brutes, the unhappy, they are sad, violent Indians, they resent the blare. They dislike the commands of the Britishers. The hour they hear it sounded, the moment they hear their orders, their demands of the Britishers. The Indians, they whine and stare with feet in air. They shout and look with eyes full of anger and protest against the colonizers. Or wonder quite confounded. They are at a loss of words, they are puzzled and dumbfounded. They don't know what to say to the commanding directors, the Britishers. They are suppressed. The fishes divide below the lake in frantic search for silence. So the Indians who were unable to bear the suppression committed suicide. They drowned themselves to free themselves from the slavery in search of silence. So death is silent. The very trees collapse and shake. The life-giving source of the Indians, their history, their heritage, it all collapses and breaks down. It shatters to such an extent that you hear the crash a mile hence. The entire country can hear the crash. They come to know about the crash, about the loss. And in the sky, the feathered fly turn turtle while they are winging. So despite living, despite breathing, the freedom of the Indians, that has been turned upside down. Their wings seem to be overturned. Their wings seem to be chopped by the Britishers. The British Raj, with their power, had suppressed the freedom of the Indians. So the Indians, they continued with their protest and asked the British Raj to leave. "We are going to die, oh won't you stop your singing?" But again, the Britishers, they pay no heed. They soared. The Britishers, they kept rising. They turned powerful with every passing day. Beyond our reach, beyond the reach of the Indians found it impossible to beat the Britishers. The Britishers, they were unbeatable. So the Indians, they went on with their plead and grumble, their humble requests and complaint. Now, observing the pathetic situation of the country, the sky, it seemed to weep. The welkin weep to hear his screech. Screech here refers to the orders, the commands of the Britishers. And mighty mansions stumble. Now we are all aware of the fact that the Britishers, when they came to India, they destroyed several monuments. The architecture tumbled. It collapsed. It fell down. it was brought to ruins. But then we had our freedom fighters who rescued the Indians from the hands of the Britishers. But now there comes a billy goat. Here the billy goat refers to the freedom fighters. A most sagacious fellow. The freedom fighters, they were wise men. And what did these freedom fighters do? They downs his horns and charges straight with bellow answering bellow. So instead of making humble requests, instead of bowing before the Britishers, instead of accepting their torture and commands, these freedom fighters, they directly fought against the British, responding to their commands as violently as they could. The strains of song are tossed and whirled, so the demands of the Britishers and the British rulers themselves, they were thrown out and charged by blast of brutal violence. So when the freedom fighters realized that their humble requests could not move the Britishers, they took up brutal violence, merciless revolts. This protest of theirs forced Bhishmalochan, that is the Britishers, to grant the Indians the gift of silence, the golden gift of freedom, the gift of independence. So through this poem, what does Ray want to tell us? Though this poem is written in a humorous manner, it has a deep hidden message. Sukumar Ray, just like George Orwell wrote Animal Farm, he used allegory to protest against the colonized ones. Sukumar Ray, in this poem, he is voicing against the colonization of India by the British Raj. Now he wrote this poem in this humorous manner to confuse the readers into believing that these poems were meant for children, and thereby he prevented any sort of hindrance that might arise in the publication of his poems. So through his humorous nonsense verses, Ray successfully conveyed his message to the readers. So though the poems seem to be written for children, the context of the poems are deeper. It is a satire of the colonized Indian society. The precise interpretation of the metaphor billy goat is unknown. However, it can be assumed that it refers to all the men who fought against the British Raj to give India her freedom. So in this poem, Bhishmalochan Sharma, he represents the British Raj. The billy goat represents the freedom fighters. Many of the critics rather, they believe that this billy goat was Mahatma Gandhi, but there is no clear indication as that. So this billy goat, we can consider them to be all the freedom fighters who fought for our country. And the song refers to the commands, the orders made by the Britishers. So the title of the poem is also a metaphor. It metaphorically refers to the power the commands of the Britishers. So, with this, I come to an end of today's discussion. I hope this poem is clear to you. But even then, if you have any doubts, you may ask me in the comment section below. I will definitely answer. Moreover, I have prepared a quiz on this poem, whose link is given in the description below. So please participate in that quiz and subscribe to my channel. And you can also subscribe to my Telegram channel and WhatsApp channel for notes and grammar practices. So until I come with my next video, enjoy studying English.